Hello everyone. In this video we're going to talk about using Git with Profound.js and how we can use version control to just generally make deployment onto our IBM I much easier than just developing on the I itself. Now to do this we're going to use Git and there's going to be prior knowledge that you have an understanding of how to use Git, but what we're going to do is set up a repository, set up SSH on our IBM I, and then simply develop on our local machine. The first thing you'll need to do is sign up for a GitHub account, or if you already have one, go ahead and sign in. Because next we're actually going to need to create an SSH key from our IBM I and push it onto our GitHub account. To start, we're going to need to go ahead and generate an SSH key on our IBM I so we can connect to GitHub from our IBM I. To do this, we're going to actually need to use SSH to go into our IBM I. Mine is called Power 8. And when we're signed in, we simply use SSH keygen and we'll be prompted to generate a new SSH key. I'm going to leave the save default and I'm going to overwrite my existing one. I'm not going to have a passphrase, and I've generated an SSH key. Now the next bit we're going to need to do is go ahead and open up GitHub. If we go ahead on over to our settings and then navigate down to SSH and GPG keys, we actually have a list of keys that already exist for me. I'm going to go ahead and delete my current IBM I one as that's now irrelevant. If I generate a new SSH key and give it the title, say I'll use the same name, my IBM I, we need to put the key in here. Now to get the key, we go back to our SSH session, and we're going to use the cat command just to print the file contents quite simply, and we're going to use the file that SSH keygen had given us. So mine is /home/Allan /.ssh id rsa.pub. Now the .pub actually indicates that this is the public key. This is the public key, not the private key. All we have to do is copy the SSH RSA key from here, go ahead and paste it into GitHub, and now we have the key. So I can now click add and I can confirm my password, and now I have a new SSH key. Now we're actually going to need to go ahead and create a repository on GitHub, and to do that we can simply click the plus sign and click new repository. I'm going to call it my project, and I'll give it a Profound.js modules demo. Now for the sake of the video I'm going to make mine public, but as a business you may want to go ahead and create a private repository. Obviously if you're going to have internal code, then you want to have it private. I won't bother with a readme, and I won't have a license because it's internal, or it might be internal. I can just leave all this, but I can go ahead and create the repository. And there we go. Now we have a Git repository on GitHub. The first thing we're going to want to do is to go ahead and clone this repository into our Profound.js installation directory modules folder. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the SSH link here, and I'm going to start a new shell. I'm going to use PowerShell because I have Git in my path for this. But I'm going to cd to where I have Profound.js installed, and I'm going to go ahead straight into the modules folder. And quite simply I'm going to do a git clone. I'm going to paste the URL and then I'm going to put it into the my project folder. Cloning into my project, and I go ahead and it's told me that I've gone ahead and cloned an empty repository. And if I go ahead to my D drive, Profound.js modules, I can see that I have my project and it's empty with just the git information. Now we actually need to put source code into this folder. Now because I already have existing code that I'd just like to move into Git, I can quite simply go ahead and just put code into the repository. So I will take code that I have in my demo lib folder and go ahead and move it into the my project folder. And now I have code running in my project. But we should test this code really. So what we're going to do now is go ahead into our Genie session. We're going to go ahead and sign in, and we're going to obviously add some paths to our library list. So we already have demo lib. We need to add Profound.js, Profound UI, and I think that'll do it. But we're going to go ahead and create a new library. We're going to actually create my project. And we're going to add that to the library list. But we also need to create a proxy object for the source in this folder. So I'm going to do pgs create prxy. Yes. And the program is claim 06r into the my project library. Activation group, we can leave all this and just hit enter. So now we have the stub, which is excellent. But what we're going to do now is go ahead and start Profound.js running on our local machine. To do this, we're going to open Visual Studio Code. We should already have the Visual Studio Code, well, the Profound.js directory should already be open in the Explorer. But if we go ahead and click to the debug tab and start debugging, we will have our Profound.js server running. In result, this means we need to use pgs myip on 8081. And now if we call my project slash claim 06r, we actually get our application loading running from our local machine, which is what we want. And functionally it should work the same. Let's say 1830. And the page loads as we expect. Okay, so now we have some code that we have running on our local machine, but now it's time to push it up to the IBM I. First of all, let's go ahead and stop our Profound.js server. And let's go back to our Git repository. So make sure your directory is still in the modules folder, and then we're going to cd back into my project. If we do a git status, Git will tell us what files have changed or been modified in some way. And we want to add all of these files to our repository. We want to add them all so they appear into this repository online. And quite simply, we're just going to do a git add -- all because we want to add all the files. We're going to do a commit -m, let's say initial programs, and then we're going to do a git commit. Git push, sorry. Do a git push. And quite simply, the files have now been pushed up to our repository, and here they are online. Excellent. So now we actually need to go back to our IBM I and clone this repository as well. SSH Allan power 8. Let's go ahead and get the SSH link. So now, if we cd to your Profound.js installation directory into the modules folder, I already have some, but what we're going to do is do a git clone, paste the link, shift insert in this console, and then obviously into my project. And there we go. ls, we have that extra my project right there. Let's cd into my project. It has our files in there. Excellent, that's just what we wanted actually. So now, if we go ahead to our Genie session, sign out, sign back in, and let's edit our library list again. Let's add Profound.js, Profound UI, and my project, which has our stub in it. Quite simply, call my project, claim 06r. Oh, that's not correct. That is correct. And quite simply, we have it running on the I. Wow, we have deployed a piece of code from our local machine to the I. But let's say we want to make a change to the code somewhere. Let's say we want to change some of this text here. So instead of position, it says something else. Let's go ahead and exit out of this. And let's go back over to Visual Studio Code. If we go to our My Project folder and we make a change to the HTML. So let's find where it says position. Position by claim. And let's change it to, let's say, claim by number or claim by ID. Claim by description. Easy. Nice and easy. And to just show that we've made a change, if we go back to our Git local repository and do a git status, this file is changed. But of course we need to test everything first. So let's go ahead and run our Profound.js server again and head on over to our Genie session. We do a pgs myip 8081 call demo, not demolib, my project /claim 06r. And as you can see, the description has changed on a local machine, which is what we want. But now we want to push this up to the IBM I. Let's go ahead and exit out of this. Let's go ahead and stop our debug session and simply commit these files. Git commit -m. Let's say the message is change display text, something along those lines. And now, just for comparison, let's go ahead and re-sign into our system. Let's edit the library list one more time. And first of all, we'll go ahead and call my project /claim 06r. As you can see, it says position by claim. If we go ahead to our IBM I session and we do a git pull to pull down latest changes, there we go, and then we call the program again, claim by ID, claim by description. As you can see, the changes have just happened by me doing a git pull, and that is exactly how it should work. So I hope this video has been some kind of insight on how DevOps can be done locally, tested locally, and deployed to your IBM I. It's generally a much safer option if you have a large team working on a lot of code at one time.